Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Want to talk a little bit about recruiting rankings this morning. Currently, Tennessee's sitting at 8th in the country. They're trying to push. We're waiting to see if they can find some flip targets here as we move into the regular season and get inside that top 5. You can see the blue chip ratio currently at 58%. That's something I talked a lot about throughout the course of the summer. While Tennessee's hot on the recruiting trail, that's something that has trended up since Josh Heupel took over at Tennessee. You go back to 2021, it was a 31% blue chip ratio, 23rd in the country with that class. And, you know, something we talked a lot about on the Fan Call-In show on Sunday night. Uncle Kenny, Jaden Lofton's uncle, was on here talking about recruiting, talking about the culture at Tennessee, talking about Josh Heupel. And we kind of went back to when Heupel took over. And look, you had an NCAA investigation hanging over your head. You had every coach in the country negative recruiting against you, saying there was going to be postseason ban, scholarship reductions, that they were going to burn Tennessee to the ground. Josh Heupel had a lot to deal with when he took over this football program, but in 2022, that class went up to 43%. The next class, 46%. The class of 24 is when you're really starting to see what Josh Heupel can do on the recruiting trail, 57%. This past cycle, the class of 25, 62%. It has trended up each and every year. Again, right now, sitting at 58%. Could this be the first year that we see that it kind of stays even kill and doesn't continue to climb? Maybe, but I love this class. You scroll down, you look at some of the names in this class. It's very top heavy. We're looking at On3 industry rankings. Tristan Keys at 7, Faison Brandon at 9, Celeste Moa 52, Joel Wyatt 63. Look at all the guys ranked in the top 100. Just a top heavy class in the class of 2026. I mentioned a couple of guys yesterday. It was a big weekend of recruiting for Tennessee. A lot of commits in town. Faison Brandon, Tristan Keys, Celeste Moa, Joel Wyatt, Braden Rouse, TJ White, Hezekiah Harris were all here peer recruiting. And a couple of guys I mentioned in the video yesterday. If you missed it, go back and give it a watch. It's a spoiler alert. I think one of these guys is trending to Tennessee, but Andrew Rogers, a 4-star edge. Dre Quinn, another 4-star edge. You look around the country, you see UCLA firing their coach, Virginia Tech firing their coach. How many guys are going to be entering the portal that Tennessee could possibly add to this next season? Also, the high school level, you see we continue to evaluate Coach Chop, Coach Garner out there trying to add a couple of 4-star edges. I think this upcoming class could be something special for Tennessee. But we take a look at the rankings, right? We take a look at the blue chip ratio, but I've seen this song and dance before. It's Rivals. It's On3. Which one is it? It's weird that these two things are combined, but Rivals updated their top 300 prospects just recently. And again, we've seen this song and dance before, right? We see guys dropping. I see a post on VolQuest saying that Tristan Keys dropped 12 spots. Faison Brandon dropped 24 spots. Celeste Moa dropped 17 spots. And I'm going, holy smokes, here we go again. Not this again. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen it with George McIntyre just this past cycle, right? George McIntyre, 5-star, one of the top quarterbacks in the country, commits to Tennessee. We see him drop from that 5-star to a 4-star, and then he drastically falls down the rankings. We see George McIntyre take to Twitter and say, that's fine. I'm sorry I didn't throw enough in shorts and a T-shirt. I'm sorry I didn't go to all the camps that you wanted me to go to. Look, ultimately, at the end of the day, all that matters is Josh Heupel and this coaching staff and their evaluations. It doesn't matter what somebody sitting in an office thinks of Faison Brandon. It doesn't matter what Charles Power thinks of Faison Brandon. But I'll give Charles Power some credit. He's the director of scouting and recruiting over at on3.com. He was in the VolQuest message board yesterday just going back and forth, explaining some of these rankings. And, you know, we have something we like to talk about around here, a rumor that they like to drop Tennessee recruits. If you commit to Tennessee, your ranking is going to fall. You're doing it for clicks. It's rage bait. I saw somebody call Charles Power out directly. He responded, said that is a myth. Clicks have nothing to do with where we rank players. If it did, the strategy wouldn't be to rage bait. So where did our players end up? Where did our Tennessee commits actually fall to in the rankings? We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. But as always, I need you guys to do that YouTube stuff for me. Just smash the thumbs up right down there below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy, it helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't pretend to be that. What we are is exactly what you guys are. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like it, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Going to be live later tonight, every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We play EA Sports College Football. It's a laid-back, hangout, chill stream, but we also talk Tennessee football. You want to be a part of it. You want to interact. You want to engage. Come hang out tonight, 6:30. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Talkin VAWLS live. Come join us for that. Friday morning, 10 a.m. Saturday, an hour before kick, and immediately following the game. Video sprinkled in all between. But come hang out with us. We would greatly appreciate it. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the rankings, and we can see here on Twitter. Again, rivals on three, rivals. Very strange that they merged, but here we are. New updated 2026 Rivals 300 rankings. You're looking at the top 16 players, so you start scrolling, you start looking. Where's the power T? Where is Faison Brandon? Where is Tristan Keys? Man, we talked about Tristan Keys, the number 1 wide receiver in the country. What a big get for Tennessee. Huge flip. Where are these guys? I'm looking at the top 16. Tennessee has nobody committed in the top 16. Now let's talk about where they moved some of our guys. And again, I saw a post on VolQuest. The poster had it all mixed up. They were looking at On3 industry rankings and then coming back to where the new On3 rankings were at. Those are different, right? The On3 industry rankings takes On3/Rivals, 247 Sports, ESPN, mash them all together, come up with an average, and that's what the On3 industry rankings are. Now, you can take it for what it's worth. That kind of gives you an average. Maybe it's a more realistic look at these rankings, but then you also got to realize ESPN, we're going to factor ESPN into the rankings. They have no idea. They spend $0 on recruiting. I put way more into On3 and way more into 247 Sports. But let's talk about the rival/On3 rankings. Tristan Keys did fall in the rankings. He fell from 15th to 19th. Now, you go look at the On3 industry rankings. He's still the number 7 overall player in the country, and he's still the number 1 wide receiver in the country. But On3 dropped him from 15 to 19. Faison Brandon stayed at number 33. You may be saying, 33? Our 5-star quarterback is the 33rd best player in the country. Yes, the On3 industry rankings have him at 9th overall and the 3rd best quarterback in the country. Now, you got to remember, they've already taken care of this one, guys. They've already taken care of the Faison Brandon drop because he committed to Tennessee back in August of 2024. They dropped him from a 5-star to a 4-star in February. That's right, February. When nobody was playing football, nobody was on the grass, they dropped Faison Brandon from a 5-star to a 4-star. The On3 industry rankings still have him as a 5-star. Again, 247 Sports has him as the number 1 overall player in the country. ESPN also has him as a 5-star. So Keys drops from 15 to 19. Faison Brandon stays at 33. Celeste Moa, we talked about him. Elite athlete, one of the top athletes in the country. A huge get for Tennessee. They dropped him to 69th in the country. On3 industry rankings still have him 52nd overall and the number 3 athlete. Joel Wyatt drop to 122nd. Braden Rouse drop to 134. Hezekiah Harris drop to 147. You see a theme here. You commit to Tennessee, we're going to drop that ranking, but not necessarily. We've got a couple of bumps as well. Tyreek King jumps up to 58th. TJ White jumps up to 71st. Kamari Blair takes a huge jump up to 173rd. And Legend Bay also jumps up inside the top 300 to 273. Now, again, shout out Charles Power, man. Charles Power came on to VolQuest. He was very interactive in a conversation last night. He talked about Faison Brandon and Tristan Keys. He said, we're status quo with Keys and Brandon, given how little they've played as seniors to this point. Faison stayed in the same spot. With Keys, we added 5 stars, meaning other players got a 5th star. So he was jumped by a few. We'll be watching to see what they both do the rest of the season. They talked about the bump to Tyreek King. He said, we like what we've seen from Tyreek King so far. Super dynamic. Wouldn't be shocked to see him make an early impact. Really like his combination of burst, long speed, and route running ability. He projects as a guy who should be able to get open at a high rate. One of the best separators in the cycle. Love to hear that. He also talked about Celeste Moa, said the biggest thing we're sorting out with Moa is where he stacks up positionally, ranked as an athlete, recruited to play wide receiver at Tennessee. So we try to have him stack up in the overall rankings around where we would put him among the wide receivers. For example, I would link Tyreek King over Moa just based on what I've seen so far, but still really like Moa's athleticism and ball skills. He and King complement each other well. He said initially thought Moa could be a great safety prospect and still think he'd stack up towards the top of the safety group nationally. Definitely a versatile player with a lot of ability on both sides of the ball. So that's what Charles Power had to say about these rankings. But what say you, right? We've seen this song and dance before. Again, saw it with George McIntyre just last cycle. We saw Faison Brandon drop shortly after committing to Tennessee. Now we see Celeste Moa drop. Biggest flip maybe in years for Tennessee to get Tristan Keys, the number one ranked wide receiver in the country, to flip from LSU to Tennessee, a huge win on the recruiting trail. They immediately drop him from 15th to 19th in the next recruiting update. Is this a thing? Is this the thing? The title of the video is not again because we've seen it before. What are your thoughts? Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, do me a favor and smash the thumbs up down there below the video. It's quick, free, and easy. It helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure you join us tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to support the channel, you can hit that join button down below. It's just $1 a month. That's it. You become a member of the channel. Keep the lights on around here. We would greatly appreciate it. There's links in the description below to join the channel, links to buy some Talkin VAWLS merchandise at bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. But that is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.